My name is Bernd Mattner. I'm chair of the Mobility Alliance at UTech Chamber. The philosophy of our UTech Chamber Mobility Alliance is to support the ongoing system change for mobility in terms of the greater good and to solve problems by applying new technology in relevant domains. I'm very happy to give a virtual welcome to Markus Paletti, founder and CEO of Loretti Group, and Dihan Votopovic, Vice President, Business Development at AV Living Labs, Andre Azevedo, co-founder and CEO at Wing Driver, and Serdar Yüksel, Director of the Mobility Alliance at UTech Chamber. One of the goals of the UTech Mobility Alliance is to connect people to create impact by applying European technology for achieving net zero in the mobility sector, and also the SDG around the world. So for this, in our monthly digital panel, we take a concrete example to make innovations more concrete and then discuss it with proven experts and innovators. And also we want you to be part of these discussions to get new impulses to exchange ideas like we did today. But let me give a quick introduction of today's topic on the agenda: can we improve mobility management using AI? So today, together with the contribution of our experts, we would like to explore what benefits AI could bring to future mobility for the users of mobility and for other participants of roadbound traffic or pedestrian areas, for safety or effectiveness of mobility in general. So what are the essential needs to use AI for improving mobility management, especially in high-density environments, or to improve road safety? So how would privacy be affected by applying AI in the mobility sector? These are the questions we want to tackle today. But let's start with an overview of the agenda. So first, that will give a quick UTech address and mission statement. Afterwards, Markus Paletti in his keynote will present how we can discover the convergent forces and catalysts that are driving the future of mobility. He will address a diverse range of AI technologies as well as market conditions that are shaping the mobility as a service and future mobility. Following this, we will open the panel discussion in which Andy Hunt and Andre Azevedo will participate. So using the insight from the keynote, we will expand the discussion to look at how logistics or taxi fleet operators can benefit from evaluating their drivers' traffic behavior in an AI driving simulator. We will discuss ideas to apply AI to have safer roads by improving drivers' behavior with respecting also drivers' privacy. Yeah? And finally, we will have an open Q&A session with all of you. So you're invited to send in all your questions, comments, and remarks via the chat function. And our panel today will be facilitated by Serdar Yüksel, who is the director of the Mobility Alliance at UTech Chamber. So, but now, please let me share the tech flash, the mobility video, please. And I will start the video in a second. One moment, please. And then you can see it by clicking your presentation on the Very good. So after that video, I'd like to hand over to Serdar. Thank you. Serdar, the stage is yours, please. Anna, you're mute.
Thank you, Bernd. Thank you. Sorry for this inconvenience, and thank you for the intro and the great tech flash that we got the opportunity to know more about our Mobility Alliance. As Bernd and me before, as Bernd before, I have mentioned that the Chamber wants to achieve a specific target. The European Technical Chamber is a network of people knowing from many perspectives what technology is. And now I would like to give a short introduction about our chamber. Here is the restore presentation icon. To view the slides, just beside the hand raise icon, as I have copied it to the public chat to guide you all. We are an NGO, not for profit organization, and established in 2015 with our headquarters in Munich, Germany, and our new office in the location of Tegernsee, and an office in Switzerland. Just let me share also my webcam with you. Yes. Give me a few seconds, please.
Quick.
We are an NGO and not-for-profit organization established in 2015 with our and we have three different group of alliances. We call our sections from LATAM to APAC, including China, and all the technology alliances, including mobility, but not only, and all others. And we have horizontal thematic impact alliances from finance to women in tech, including SDGs and climate action. How we work all today, and thank you for your interest again. And those happen in every alliance every month, in total more than 200-300 webinars per year, and we have great speakers like today. And from next year on, we will start doing our expos hybrid mode, not online, and you will be able to join as well physically, which will happen in every big city every month for every alliance. And thousands of people register like you today, and mostly company owners and decision makers like most of you. Our services that we provide, we start with networking right after every webinar. We have bi-weekly networking meetings, and start with a meeting with our great speakers at the first networking meeting right after the webinar, and meet with our members, and also some of you will be invited to, and you are welcome to join at the networking meetings. I will give the links to find out how to register. And at the second bi-weekly networking meeting, we focus more on business opportunities among the members, including EU funding and other global development aid organization funding opportunities, including UN, World Bank, etc., and others. And this is the base for our collaboration options. And what other services that we provide, including insights about knowledge that we see it as a base for networking, and we provide and position papers, and but not by our own. We also expect contribution from our members to make them more visible by publishing their name, brand, and picture. And you can send also your articles to our Visions for Europe online magazine to share then your article online on your social media accounts like LinkedIn and others as well. Monthly newsletters, you are also welcome to write an article, and you can also check please our programs which might add value to your business. And we have a great new and brand new tech.forum platform that you will have your own virtual booth when you join us as a member. We call Advocate, and we also arrange virtual expos over our platform. And another good value on our platform is that you can reach to our user database when you join us, when you subscribe, and even you can create and manage your own events, and you can please get back to colleagues for partnership opportunities and for any comment or questions on your advocacy, potential advocacy. Thank you for listening to me. And now we will continue with our panel. And as Ben and me before have mentioned, the chamber really wants to achieve specific targets. Now, so let me introduce to you all Marcus Paletti, our keynote speaker today. Yes, Marcus Paletti is the founder and CEO of Laureate Group. He is a pioneer and thought leader in creating seamless passenger-centric mobility. As an innovator, his efforts to transform mobility to be more productive, efficient, and accessible led to the development of an industry-first ecosystem at Laureate by combining hardware, software, and service elements. He is recognized among most influential young leaders 2022. With 16 years of international experience as an entrepreneur, Marcus has a career which spans across several industries, including retail, real estate, hospitality, technology, and infrastructure. His goal is to make the success of electrified transportation by helping to live up to its promises of sustainability through software and digital technologies. Marcus, it is our great pleasure to have you here today. And it is now the time to share your ideas with us. The stage is yours.
Thank you, Sardar. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Ben, thanks for the opportunity. And Sardar, thanks for the kind address. So yesterday, I'm joining you from the UK. Yesterday has been a profoundly inspiring day watching the Queen's departure. At one point, I realized that she actually saw the beginning of an era where the news was delivered through radios. So she came from that era. And people still traveled on horse wagons and bicycles then. So I just want to put that in contrast to what it is today. Being in her position, to be able to access information on new and continuous technologies and having access to that innovation, can you imagine how often she had to embrace new technologies and prepare for transitions as we move through time? Now, it's a thought. I invite you to also think about as you and I will be experiencing, even creating to some extent, preparing for transitions through the years to come, what is that future might look like? So the thought also led me to gain some unique perspectives, which I'm about to share with you today. I'm very pleased to be speaking about the topic that's actually very close to me, and the timing can't be more appropriate, especially talking about AI in mobility sector for a number of reasons. We already see the various applications of AI driving the mobility sector, such as traffic management, connected cars, vehicle systems, and even manufacturing and so on. But today, my topic will focus on a specific untapped area of mobility, which will power the next generation of on-demand services and also improve the overall passenger experience, looking at it from the mobility user perspective. I'll also make a case about how a powerful experience ecosystems powered by AI and digital tools will become convergent forces and catalysts that will drive the mobility of the future, specifically on-demand services, which I know will be the next €1 trillion market. Today, almost all discussions and developments in mobility are focused on things like vehicles and systems to safety that sit at the product level, but not really enough at the end user level. The danger of not doing that will make it harder for our future customers or customers today to navigate and manage those transitions. So, as you know, software technologies are playing a major role in shaping mobility like never before, which is great, but it's also like unleashing a gigantic flood into a desert. So I think this is where it's important to think about how we can channel that convergence where every ounce of that innovation is a benefit to everybody. For that, we need to start picturing what the mobility of the future means to the future you and us, all of us. Maybe we can start looking at what the mobility of the past has been for our progress. Throughout my talk, I'll be placing the end user at the center of everything as we explore this topic. It's something very simple I put together here. In the early 1900s, an average person commuted about 2 miles a day. That took about 16 minutes of the commute time, total commute time. In the 30s, when public transportation dominated the average commute, it was 5 miles, which took about 34 minutes. And the 50s, of course, revolutionized personal transportation, with cars starting to reach all the households, or maybe not all the households, but starting to penetrate the household market. By the 1990s, we saw the car culture at its peak, in the 80s and the 90s. An average commute then still took about 34 and a half minutes, with an average journey covering about 13 and a half or 7.5 kilometers, just over 7 miles. If you're traveling for work between Brighton or London or any major cities in Europe with roughly about 60-mile distance, it takes about 1 hour. Contrast that with a car journey that still takes about an average 14 kilometers in London. It still takes about 35 minutes. You will notice that the duration of the car trip itself hasn't necessarily seen an exponential change despite all the advancements. Looking at the last century, we can all agree that transportation played a key role in how we progressed culturally, economically, socially, and behaviorally. So I think it's very interesting to first juxtapose a different set of data, or looking at our progress, and also how transportation transformed our personal progress. Maybe we can find some answers there. So thanks to the transportation revolution, we actually saw the boom in productivity and average income rises from the 1950s. And this data covered from 1930s, actually 1930s and 40s, because due to war, decolonization, and inflation crisis, whatnot, things were a bit slow. But I think we have a clear data from the 50s, so let's skip to have a deeper look at it. Annual working hours, as you can see in this slide, annual working hours came down as productivity per hour went up, and relatively, therefore, per capita income has also gone up. So this is a small data for our perspective, and there's a direct correlation between the advancements in transport and factors that led to economic and personal trends. We have also seen we've been traveling further and faster as we globalize mobility, which directly contributed to our personal progress and per capita income. Today, for example, we can see this impact immediately when, especially economic impact, when a transportation or any disruption in infrastructure or transportation coming to a halt or something. So there's no doubt that efficiency and speed of transportation has contributed to our progress in every way massively. It's also important that we must continue on that progress. But when you look at the transportation of this century we're creating, or we are about to create, is it enough to just focus on efficiency and speed? The reason why I asked this question is that mobility of the past was about getting people to places and work in a faster way possible, and that is exactly where we saw the value. And of course, it's the golden age of personal transportation. Today, the nature of work, how we work, the way we perform the work has changed unimaginably, especially after the pandemic. Maybe it's time to focus on the quality of the commute in addition to the speed of the transport. The mobility of the future is about making every commute work for people in a highly productive manner. This is where we need to look at personalized transportation. And the question is how we transform personal transportation into a more personalized transportation. This is where we look for answers in AI. When we can't drastically reduce the commute time, it's an opportunity to exponentially improve the quality of the commute. It's not about choosing one or the other, but really aligning them. As much as we focus on building better vehicles and systems using AI, We must also focus on the passenger and their experience, end-to-end travel experience. So where we sit today, we have a cocktail of innovation opportunities to really make a huge difference in how people move around the globe. So let's look at a very classic study that happened in the last 10 years or so, Uber. It wiped out most taxi businesses globally, but Uber itself is not a taxi business. If you look at the model carefully, it's an app. What does it do? It didn't necessarily cut the waiting times or increase the speed in journeys. What it actually did, it gave the real-time information in the hands of the user. So, if it's raining outside, you don't have to stand outside to wondering where your car is. It replaced your anxiety and stress with the time that you can actually multitask and giving you that mental peace. So when you closely look at it, it's an experience that really differentiated um, the the app itself, and they really thought outside the taxi business. Now, that's just one example, but we have plenty of them like this. So here's my point: given the amazing tech tools we have, like AI and digital technologies, we can now focus on passenger experience that can solve a lot of problems both in the automotive and outside and beyond in all modes of transportation, especially in cars where the innovation is currently lacking in terms of passenger experience. And I believe this will create an experience revolution that will fundamentally decide what the future of mobility is going to be. Over the last 5 years, I interacted with hundreds of automotive professionals. One of the questions I often asked them was who their user was. Very quickly, they point out to drivers. And in a very few responses, I gathered passengers as an answer. Now, that is the paradigm we're sitting in today. But that is going to change. That is going to change very, very soon. In the context of electric mobility, when we talk about the ecosystems, this is where we need to place the end user at the center of the model. So as we focus, I mean, generally when we talk about ecosystems, we talk about generally when we talk about ecosystem, we talk about vehicles, charging infrastructure, or even charging hardware. This is where we see the new ecosystems popping up. But the ecosystem I'm talking about is about everything that adds to the quality of the journeys. So, in the mobility of the future, a compelling experience will be a result of a compelling ecosystem. And to build a compelling ecosystem, we need a combination of software technologies, hardware, redesigning the hardware, and also service elements combined together. So, why are these ecosystems? The ecosystems are actually powerful to address the most pressing issues of our time in mobility, such as emissions, carbon footprint, sustainability, including digital safety and privacy, etc. So, the classic case to that is let's look at DocuSign, for example, DocuSign or other digital signature technologies, which wiped out the entire use case for printers, actually. Um, they thought outside the box, in this case, outside the printer business, to solve the same problem we're trying to tackle with the printers in the first place. So maybe through the lens of our project, Loretti, I'd like to demonstrate the kind of ecosystem that we are creating and how we are thinking outside the car. So we are Loretti, a global startup business that is going to own the passenger experience economy. What do I mean by passenger experience economy? Like I described, the future of mobility is going to be connected, on demand, and digital. And we're looking at the evolution of a huge market, a trillion euro market, evolving through this decade. And we believe that we are the foundation to this emerging space. So, why? What exactly are we going to solve? We see that passenger experience has been neglected for decades. Travel in general is fragmented and unproductive, especially when an international trip with multiple legs of journey is involved. Corporate travel is also suffering from productivity loss, expensive bills, an impact on health and wellness, and they've been desperately looking for a solution for more than a decade now. And then you see the role of AI in autonomous cars, which are reducing the role of a driver and putting more emphasis on the passenger. And then we also know that today private ownership of cars is about to take over. They're already declining, and the on-demand services people are switching to on-demand mobility services. So all in all, what it basically tells us is that the last 100 years, cars have always been about the driver, and the next 100, here's the paradigm shift. It'll be about the passenger. At Loretti, we believe that mobility can be harnessed as a useful tool rather than a stressful necessity, which is what it is today. And our vision is to create a passenger-centric future that is seamless, productive, and accessible to a wider population. So we're building a mobility ecosystem that will give back the richness of time during our journeys, where people can be more productive, more efficient, more effective, and more energized while going through complex travel schedules with the least effort. And this is something you're very familiar with today. And let me show you how Loretti works.
Meet Clay Wilson, a successful LA-based entrepreneur who runs a global tech firm. He is a frequent transatlantic flyer and also uses Loretti's vehicles as his fleet across multiple international cities. Loretti's vehicles come with a passenger-centric technology that acts like a satellite assistant and supports Clay's mobility needs throughout his trip. Let's see how that works. Today, Clay has arranged meetings in London and Madrid and back to New York, all smartly integrated with Loretti's technology, which prepares an itinerary in real time with options for the best way of accomplishing the entire travel in the most convenient and effective way. When options are ready, Clay takes one good look, et voila. On the day of travel, as he finishes his breakfast with his family, his Loretti watch alerts him to the Loretti fleet service waiting outside. The vehicle recognizes Clay as he enters and informs him of the journey time to the airport. The ambience and posture are automatically adjusted to suit Clay's physical, mental, and emotional state. During the journey, he decides to fine-tune his presentation for meetings and access his work data without the need for carrying a laptop. This is done through a simple authentication process through the interactive screens before him. We also see that the vehicle's rear seats are ergonomically designed to comfortably accommodate the work mode seating. These large format screens are robust and adjustable, used for entertainment, communication, connectivity, and much more. The vehicle system can also inform if there are any delays en route. As he exits at the destination, the system confirms that any of his personal data is automatically removed from the system memory. After a long flight, Clay has now landed in London. Gentle vibrations of the watch guide his movements and accurately navigate to the car waiting for him outside the airport. With almost an hour journey ahead to the destination, Clay dozes off, and the connected seat gently adjusts the position to help him relax more comfortably. All of this happens in the background, with no interruption to his sleep. At each destination, Clay never had to think about the details of each leg of the journey as we do today. Now you may wonder, how do Loretti vehicles provide such great features of wellness, in-vehicle experience, productivity, connectivity, and most of all, high-level data security? The secret is that all Loretti vehicles are operated by its centrally integrated operating system called Mira.os. From vehicle design to technology, the central theme of Loretti is to provide a unique, efficient, and enjoyable passenger-centric mobility experience that goes beyond its vehicle door.
Thank you. I don't know why, but the video was sticking a little bit. You didn't get the full flow of it. So
it was smooth.
Was it? Thank you, Sudha. So this is our solution is a combination of vehicle software and service elements, as you saw in the video. So what we're doing is we produce business class cabins in the vehicles using while we source 80% of the vehicle from partners, and we have our own proprietary software. It's an operating system that sits within both the car and which delivers the beyond the vehicle door experience. So just a quick view. This is our flagship vehicle, Mira One. This is essentially it's a business lounge on the move. So if you want to work or relax or indulge yourself, it's there. So the cabin experience itself is enabled by a globally connected ecosystem called Mira OS. So it's an AI-powered technology that understands the users, that focus on the mainly the passenger-centric experience, making journeys to be more seamless and accessible across different cars. But ultimately, our vision is to make it different modes of transport. The idea is this way: every Mira user can connect to every Loretti vehicle, and every Loretti vehicle can connect to every Mira user. So, lastly, I want to leave you with a simple thought. And here, this is a great example for the paradigm shift. Most companies that we think about, let's say a car or train, whichever. Let's take a car, for example. And companies like Apple, Sony, Oppo, these guys have nothing to do with car. But they have their electric vehicle / autonomous vehicle programs. But the big question is why they're entering into this market. I think it's because they understand that the future of travel is not in the hands of the traditional players. And the future of mobility is not about, it's certainly not about just getting from place to place. It's about making journeys work for people. And at the beginning of my talk, I spoke about what the future of mobility may be for the future of us. It's obvious. If we could use the AI capabilities in a way that mobility users find their time to be enriched and adding value to their life, I think we will revolutionize the way people move around the world. Hope you found my insights to be useful. Thank you for your time. So I'll hand it back over. So Dan, back to you.
Thank you, Marcus, for your keynote, sharing this comprehensive insights. And now we know how great can entertainment, communication, and connectivity be great using AI. Although there started a discussion in the chat, I guess it is now a perfect time to integrate Andy, Hans Vodopivic, and Andre Azevedo in our discussion. But before we start with our panel talk, I'd like to introduce them to all of you. Andy Hans Vodopivic is a VP Business Development, Anglo-French national, living in Slovenia since 1998, and international at heart, worked for several large corporate groups in international business development and restructuring in Central and Eastern Europe. He then decided to leave the slow corporate world and focus on consultancy and mentorship for advanced tech startups, focused on mobility and sustainability products and services. He believes that you need to be both unique and exceptional, but also bold and ambitious in forging strong partnership to succeed in reshaping the way we live, work, and move around. I agree with you, Andy. And Andre Azevedo, CEO and Director, Alvin Driver, electrical engineering degree, founded 3 companies and has high experience in company management and growth of mobility tech startups, including his previous company, Healthy Road, and other corporate tech management positions. So, dear audience, at this point, I'll to give a general note again and invite you to all to share with us your questions and comments about the keynote or around our theme today. Can we improve mobility management using AI? As you all started posting in the public chat, you can please go on. Our dear keynote and panelists will be having a key eye on putting their eye on the public chat to follow you. And now let's start our panel with you, Andy and Andrea, and come to the first talking point. In the keynotes, we learned the need on the convergent forces and catalysts that are driving the future of mobility. But perhaps we can continue with a bit overview of other aspects of AI on driving simulator to the driver and benefits to logistics or taxi fleet operators. Also, on safer roads, how to guarantee drivers' privacy, improve driver behavior, and differentiate And Andre, the first questions I'd like to address to you. First, of course, after that, we would also like to hear the views by Marcus, but you all are representatives of global organizations, companies, and consultancy business being the executives and startups. From your experience, how can we see the AI in mobility? Andy, the question to you will be, in what way can AI driving simulators speed up and improve recruitment in the future? And the question to Andre will be, how can we have safer roads? Sorry. And what is the role of AI for that? And then Marcus, you made a point about a combination of a car and AI tools to develop passenger-focused mobility of the future. What are the biggest questions of our time that mobility has to address, do you think, Marcus? And maybe we can start with you, Andy. Please, what about AI driving simulators? You are on mute, Andy. Andy, you are on mute.
Thank you, Serdar. Thank you, Marcus, for that. Yes, my name is Andy Hunt-Budopiewicz, based in Ljubljana. Coming back to the main point, I think we also need a reality check that the future of autonomy and autonomous vehicles is not ready yet. So I expect another 10 to 15 years before anything is truly autonomous. And many companies are spending vast amounts of money on products and services, but they're not actually investing in us, the humans. So what do we do in the meantime? We have a huge population rise. And if you imagine that in 1950, there were 2 megacities, Tokyo and New York. And by 2030, there'll be 46 megacities, a megacity being 10 million people and above. And if you add to that 70% of the global population will live in these megacities, we have to find a solution between now and autonomy, how to make our roads safer, traffic more fluid. And hence at AV Living Lab, we've developed an AI driving simulator hub, which is based in Dubai, which is a cognitive and biometric AI deep learning simulator that can analyze drivers within 15 minutes. It can analyze their driving behavior, their driving pattern. So it's after millions and millions of repetitions and of deep learning, it can evaluate what kind of driver you are and then actually offer a training program on top of that. So are you passive aggressive? Are you accelerating very hard? Are you tailgating? Are you taking the exits too hard? So we provide the hardware, we provide the software, it's our IP, but added to that, we can actually create digital twins because we're in virtual reality. So we can create a digital twin of whatever road you want. It could be Sheikh Zayed Road in Dubai, it can be Oxford Street in London, Champs-Élysées in Paris, you name it. And added to that, we can add metaverse. So we're adding a completely new dimension to recruiting drivers who, rightly or wrongly, some come from countries where it's not a developed system, whether that's India, Africa, wherever, and they're suddenly thrown into, for example, Dubai, which is a car-dominated city with 6 to 10 lanes in some instances. So our system evaluates each driver, offers a training program, and actually categorizes that driver and says, yes, you need training. No, you're good. You're in the top 10%. You're in the lower 10%. All with that is the aim is to have better road safety, better skills, better behavior on the road, because you need to consider that poor road behavior and poor driving kills 1.3 million people. 94% of all accidents is human based. Congestions cost anywhere between $5,000 to $75,000 per accident without the physical value of the car. Congestions and also driver shortage. So we're actually offering a solution for recruitment at early stages because logistics, we all see it in the current global economy, logistics delivery that is rising enormously, but we have a driver shortage and we have poor driving skills in many instances. So our solution offers that kind of skill and that kind of solution to fleet management companies. It can be for taxi companies, it can be the Ubers of this world, it can be the Amazons of this world. So we offer a real AI solution to aid that gap between now and autonomy to make driver skills much better. We add to net zero accident society, lower congestions, lower accidents, better behavior, less stress, less anger on the roads, more fluid flow of traffic. That's our system, and that's we think in the next 10, 15 years will really develop enormously.
Thank you, Andy. And Andrea, how can we make roads safer with AI?
So at Wing Driver, we are focused on the same as Andy said, solving the problem of 94% of accidents are human caused. So since 2014 that I'm addressing driver monitoring systems, and that means that they didn't change, it only changed 2%, meaning that in 2014, 96% of accidents were human caused. Today is 94, but our roads are much better. Our vehicles are much better. What this means? What this means that drivers are much more distracted than before, and drivers are driving much more fatigued because you have less actions. You have adaptive cruise control, you have lane keeping, you have brake assist. So you are taking out actions from the driver and you want for the driver to keep aware of what the car is doing. So, and to solve this problem, of course, there is many different driver monitoring systems technologies. We have a mandate in European Union to mandate the implementation of driver monitoring systems in new vehicles starting in 2025. That is very good, but we are lacking to address the aftermarket. So new vehicles, they need 20 years to reach a very good penetration of the market and solve the problem of driver behavior or bad behavior. So we look at this problem and we are trying to address and solve it for all drivers. We are developing computer vision and AI to use the smartphone as the sensor and the smartphone as the way to alert the driver in real time and try to change his behavior. It's what we are doing because we believe that if you want to reduce the road crashes and improve the road safety, you need to address all drivers. You need to give the solution to the public that everyone is capable to use it. And everyone has a smartphone. Everyone can position the smartphone in a way that we can monitor their face using the selfie camera. So and this is our vision on how to solve the problem of driver inattention. And in the future, and as Marcos was telling about, we're gonna have driverless vehicles, and we're gonna start monitoring the passengers. The good thing is that Apple CarPlay and Android Auto is growing in terms of the vehicles that are using them, and our operative systems are working on those operative systems. So we are developing technology for iOS, Apple CarPlay, and Android Auto, meaning that in the end and in the future, we envision using the same technology to monitor the passengers, because in the end, we are always looking to the head and shoulders, exactly the image that we have here, and take advantage and take informations about that regarding fatigue, drowsiness, sleep, emotions, stress, driver impairment, etc., etc., etc. And using AI, it's the way to solve this problem. We need to collect, and we are on the big data play. With collecting big amounts of data, allow us to have a very good algorithm, and that can predict what is the behavior of each driver. And the other thing that is key, and we are talking about privacy, is that we can develop our neural networks by collecting data from some type of drivers that are available to share and they want to share to improve the community algorithms and technology. And then we are processing everything locally, means that if you don't want to share, if you want to keep your privacy, our algorithms still work.
Thank you, Andre. And now I see we need to speed up because we have many questions to ask, and also there are many questions in the public chat. So maybe we can only consider use 2 minutes per answer from now on. And what about the biggest questions in the mobility today, Marcus? Do you think?
I relate with excellent point made by Andre and Andy as well. So let's look at what Andy said. He basically set a horizon 10 to 15 years as we develop towards the fully autonomous future. But we can also, the the small scores and small progress that we make, they actually create a ripple effect in both drivers and the passengers, how we access in mobility sector. The small progress that they make actually becomes an opportunity for various business models. And one of the things that I see here, one of the big questions is, do we still need a car when you're living in urban areas? The answer is no. I mean, we haven't been, we didn't come to that stage yet, but in a few years' time, the answer will be no. That's the right point to say this. And let's look at what Andre was saying. So here we have the stressful driving is being taken care of, using AI and stuff. We're getting better vehicle systems, predictive maintenance to driver observation, to assist the driver and stuff. But in all this that's going on, where do you find the most value in driving the car? If you're paying your consultant, again, we're looking at the macro level of how our lifestyles and jobs and everything else is changing. So this is where what Andy and Andre what their companies are doing, facilitate a greater productivity side in how we access mobility services. And each small wins that they make, basically it's beneficial in a big way for at a macro level for so many people. And I guess we have more opportunities that comes to these questions. These are biggest questions, and all that goes back to, do you still need a car? Especially focusing on the urban areas. So
Thank you.
that's the AI is posing at the moment.
Thank you, Marcus. And about the legal and regulatory perspectives for AI in mobility, how can technology guarantee drivers' privacy, Andre? Again, just reminding that maybe in 2 minutes.
Yes, so we can guarantee drivers' privacy because in the end, what we are doing is a solution that works when you are connected or not connected. Means that we are developing our algorithms to be processed in each smartphone, no matter if it's an Apple phone or an Android phone. And all our algorithms are made to work alone without any connectivity. That means that if you don't want to share nothing, still our technology will support you while driving. So what we are developing the technology because we have different types of users that can share and want to share to improve the AI capabilities, and users that they want to share and they want to keep their privacy. Additionally to that, we need to be GDPR compliant, and we are collecting data in that matter and with all the normatives and guaranteeing all the privacy for each one of us. But as everyone knows, AI depends largely on big data. Big data is the way to achieve high accuracy and the fastest way to achieve high accuracy. So it is a balance between collecting data from users that want to share and other users that will use the technology in their benefit and that will benefit all of us, because we need to solve the problem of all drivers, not addressing only specific like professional drivers and things like that. We need all using our technology in order to solve the road rage.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Andre.
If
Yes,
I may,
please, Andy.
add to that. Yeah, absolutely. Data is being generated, huge amounts of data. We're generating huge amounts of data that will be used in the good way and positive way for autonomy and autonomous driving. This is our key aim. Now, at the moment, there's a lot of different companies who have the proprietary data, AI data, and they want to keep that. That's their own data. So you have lots of different companies worldwide with well, let's say small but huge amounts of data, and they don't want to share that data. So we need to find a business model whereby we can all share the data correctly. Some data is unanimous, some is personal, but at the end, my idea would be to formulate some kind of business model where the provider, we would provide, let's say us, we would provide data to a car company, a provider, let's say, and we'd sign some kind of NDA, as we have now. And some kind of trust clause where we would say this data is not to be distributed. That would mean we'd be able to share the data, because then we'll be able to unify the data into a good world cause, so that, as Marcus said, it will have a ripple effect. The more data we share and we don't kind of keep it together and just for ourselves, that makes no sense. So let's share the data on some kind of business model, NDA trust. I think that is the operative word today, because there is no structure at the moment. I know the EU is struggling with this. It's very new. It's a new frontier. Who owns the data? GDPR. So I think we need to find business models to share all the data generated by millions of companies around the world for the greater benefit of autonomy. And as Marcus said, forget car ownership, it will be car rental on demand. So we kind of have, say, data as a service, as you were. You will rent me, or you will give me your data, and I will sign an NDA with you.
Would you like to conclude your party saying how long does the AI simulator take to evaluate a driver? What information does it provide? Maybe in a few sentences, Andy.
Yeah, the system, I mean, just creates a huge amounts of data because we use biometrics. So we have eye tracking systems, we have pulse monitors, sweat monitors, we have headgear as well. So everything is generated, and in 15 minutes, it can actually analyze exactly what kind of driver you are. Now, you can sign a declaration that you want it unanimous, it's GDPR, but most are quite happy to say, yeah, that's the data. So every single driver signs a form, knows exactly what he's doing, what he's responsible for. So it generates a huge amount. This is where the AI deep machine learning comes in very, very, very useful. Without it, we couldn't do any of this. So it's developed by Stanford University and Ljubljana University. So, you know, complicated algorithms, but it's hard to explain now, but it analyzes every single step of your driving and creates a very full, comprehensive report as to what you are, how you drive, and also how you can improve your system. That's the only system in the world that does that at the moment.
Thank you, Andy. And then Marcus, what about AI, autonomous technologies to contribute to sustainability goals, please, shortly?
The AI and autonomous technologies driving, I mean, I'm seeing a lot of benefits in here because ultimately, if AI will be the key factor in improving on-demand services. So the convenience of owning a car, imagine having access to a service that predicts when you need the car, right? So instead of you waiting for the car is waiting for you even before you know that you have to travel. So that's the level we're going to at some point. Now, when we get to that stage, I mean, I look at a lot of the new startups or car manufacturers. When we look at their projections, they project to sell millions of cars on a yearly basis, and that's over a 10-year period, 7 to 10-year period in the model life. Sometimes I question, is it realistic? Because we know that Tony Seba has been very accurate in his predictions in the last 20 years at least. That's someone who I think I can bet on. According to his predictions, we're looking at the inflection points of AI, the autonomous driving going to next level is 2027, and we'll see a lot of behavioral effects as well. So it'll reduce the volumes of the cars, because if you don't have to drive it, what would you do inside the car? That's the question I think we'll all be facing at one point, where it'll reduce the volumes of the car. And then when you look at the biggest factor in manufacturing, if you look at the cost proportions, you're probably paying $15 for the real estate of the car, manufacturing it, and for actual manufacturing labor, you're probably paying $150 and $1,500 for your logistics. So logistics play a key role, or even the biggest polluting factor or the carbon footprint factor in manufacturing process, along with the actual value chain in manufacturing. The logistics is quite important. So I think what AI would do, AI and autonomous technologies, the word go machine learning, they all go side by side. What they do is when you have these capabilities that can go or migrate to any car, what's the point of? It's like Airbus being able to produce anywhere. As long as you have a blueprint of the manufacturing model, you can manufacture anywhere. But the whole point is, and what really makes the difference is that what the car can actually do other than just moving people. And that is the question. I mean, that is the difference between where we are now and later. So yeah, it will drastically reduce, or basically, I think many models will see, many car manufacturers will see, make way we sell policies. So that way we're also looking at a heavy reduction on the carbon footprint of cars.
Thank you, Andre. Considering that we have only 3 minutes, and just would you like to add a sentence about the joys and worries from Marcus, from average mobility user perspective? If you like, just please, you can add a sentence in addition to what you have explained.
I totally agree with the vision of Andy and Marcus. So yes, we need to share our data to improve and to have better AI in the future in the world. And I agree with you, Marcus. It's nowadays is not, I will say, stupid to have a car. In the future, it will be even more because you're gonna need to share it. Regarding the future and what is my prediction is, yeah, technology is here to help us out. Driving is boring. Driving is a waste of time most of the time. So we need to have a better usage of that period of time that you need to commute from one point to other point. It needs to be pleasant. It needs to be pleasant, and it needs to be adaptable to each one of us. So in the end, and my what I envision, what we envision, is technologies to adapt the vehicle exactly to what you need, what is your state of mind, and what you are looking for on that specific journey. So AI is here to help us out. We need to take care and develop, especially in Europe and in US, normatives to guarantee the privacy of each one of the users. But there is no doubt that cameras, AI, and all the capabilities that the AI will generate a lot of benefits on our commute, and it will be much more pleasant to go from point A to point B, no doubt.
Thank you.
And
Thank you, Andre. Thank you, Andre. And then about the taxi fleet operators or logistics use how to use the AI driving simulator and benefits, Andy, maybe in a minute. You're on mute, Andy. Andy, you are on mute.
Yeah, sorry about that. Very quickly, yeah, I think car ownership is out. Car sharing is going to be the future. So I think big data AI is absolutely prerequisite for that to happen, because it will happen. So I think that's going to be the big thing. In terms of logistics, that will still be there. We'll still need delivery of things, supply chains globally. So I think that will go to another aspect. That will go more to UAMs. Air transport, drones. But again, autonomous delivery, it can be trucks, it can be lorries. AI and big data and public acceptance is going to be a massive key in this. But it is the way forward and it will happen. Just live with it, and it will be there in maybe 10 years, fingers crossed. I hope earlier, but I don't expect it to be so.
Thank you, Andy. And a concluding sentence, maybe, Marcus, about joys and worries from mobility user perspective.
Yep, worries, I think, is the worry. Joys, of course, there will be an anxiety at first for people to adapt new technologies, as we saw with planes or mobile phones. That's very common. Ultimately, we enjoy the fruits of technology. But the worry is something that Andy and Andre touched upon, which is the privacy factor. Andy, one thing though is I think we need to think better than the trust clause, because trust clause, many people broke it. Probably the only company we don't have any controversy yet is Apple. So I think we can look at some anonymized, not even talking about encryption, but there's a better way to handle data. And of course, we don't have answer to that. But there are some companies that are looking into this, where you can surpass that or think beyond that trust clause. Instead, all the data is anonymized in a way that you're interacting with to produce the end result, instead of actually getting into the personal details. The worry is, philosophically speaking, 10 years ago, all we cared about having a Facebook account. Yesterday, the worry was about compromising your credentials. Tomorrow, it's about every single move you make, wherever you go. And that is the life you're going to be compromising on if you didn't think carefully. And with that said, that is the worry that we should be taking it seriously, especially for the creators of it. And it's a good thing to start thinking about that and how we can reduce that anxiety and build that confidence in people.
Thank you. Thank you, Marcus. And we received the great questions in the public chat. I see our keynote and the panelists will answer on their LinkedIn accounts, and including Simona and Phil's, maybe Marcus, you may like to check also, they have questions. And a big thank to you. I would like to say quick thanks to Bernd, a big thank to you, Marcus, as a keynote, and thanks to you, Andy, Andre, for having shared your views in such a succinct and structured way, not only your thoughts and insights on this topic itself and beyond, which EU Tech will honor our panelists in a specific way. Now our chamber will provide you the 3 certificates. Here they are. You can click on the restore presentation icon to see what 3 certificates we have for you. And to, of course, Andre and of course to Andy. Here it is. And we have given to Marcus separately before. Now you have your trees to water in Africa. Andy, Andre, hope you can have some time, go there and do it one day. Otherwise, we do it for you. Don't worry. And finally, thanks to you, the audience, for your time and great questions. Please do get in touch with us for any questions, thoughts, and ideas that have arisen from this talk. And whether or not, there are many ways to get to know us and work better. One is by participating on our monthly events, like this one today, to connect with other experts and to evaluate the solution space for a system change in mobility. See you next time. Have a good one. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. See you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.